all. Hope you're doing well today. Today we are continuing our conversation in Chapter 10. This is Part 3. We're talking about assessment and accountability. So a salient component of quality physical education is assessment, which is essential for determining whether students are learning and achieving the national standards set by Shape America. Assessment provides measurable evidence of student progress and skill development, their fitness knowledge, and personal and social responsibility. Assessment also serves as a tool for accountability. It ensures that both the physical education programs and teachers are held responsible for promoting student achievement and aligning instruction with clearly defined learning outcomes. This is where instructional alignment becomes critical. Instructional alignment refers to the intentional connection between standards, which is what students should know and be able to do, instruction, how those skills and knowledge are taught, and assessment, how student achievement is measured. By aligning these three components, educators create coherent, purposeful learning experiences that foster student success and validate the impact of physical education on lifelong health activity. In physical education, assessment plays a vital role in guiding instruction and measuring student learning. Two primary types of assessment are used: formative and summative. Formative assessment is conducted at the beginning or during a unit. It helps students and teachers determine if learning is occurring. It provides feedback that informs instructional decisions and helps educators adjust lesson plans so students can meet unit goals and objectives. For example, this would be using skills checklists or observations or peer feedback or even quick reflections. Now, a summative assessment is conducted at the end of a unit, and it measures what students have learned throughout the unit. Often it's linked to grades and used to evaluate overall achievement. So this would be, for example, performance tests, written exams, or final skill demonstrations, or even fitness assessments. Together, formative and summative assessments support student growth. It ensures accountability and align instruction with national standards in physical education. Now, there are different types of assessment, and one of those is performance-based assessment. This is an effective way to measure higher levels of student learning in physical education. It goes beyond the basic recall of information and focuses on students' understanding of concepts and their ability to apply knowledge and skills in real-world or game-like situations. These assessments are authentic, engaging, and often aligned with the national standards and learning outcomes. They allow students to demonstrate not just what they know, but what they can do with that knowledge. Here are some examples of performance-based assessments. It would be observations, where the teacher is watching students perform skills or interact in activities. It could be they have a checklist that's used to track skill progression or task completion, or a rubric that provides detailed scoring criteria for evaluating performance. It could also be journals that allow students to reflect on their experiences in learning, or portfolios, which is a collection of student work showing progress over time, and it could be either in print or electronic. Essays and role plays, where they're assessing conceptual understanding and communication, or even projects such as designing a fitness plan or creating a game. It could be game performance, where they're evaluating decision-making, teamwork, and execution during actual play. So performance-based assessment supports student-centered learning. It encourages critical thinking and aligns with the goal of preparing students for lifelong physical activity and well-being. Now, there are characteristics of effective teaching. Effective physical educators use a variety of pedagogical skills and strategies to enhance student learning and engagement. These practices go beyond delivering content. They focus on creating an environment where students feel motivated, supported, and actively involved. Some key components include maximizing active engagement. This is where teachers ensure that students are involved in meaningful, relevant activities for a high percentage of class time. This keeps students physically active and mentally focused on the learning objectives. And holding positive expectations. Successful educators believe in their students' abilities and communicate high but achievable expectations. This helps build student confidence and encourages effort and perseverance. They also want to create a warm and nurturing climate. So a positive classroom atmosphere, it fosters trust and respect, as well as emotional safety and physical safety. Teachers build relationships and offer encouragement and respond to students with care, making it easier for learners to participate and thrive. Together, these strategies contribute to effective teaching, support student achievement, and promote lifelong appreciation of physical activity. Some salient teacher behaviors are really looking at organization and developing detailed plans. So creating lesson plans that include specific measurable objectives and clearly defined tasks. You have to structure activities that minimize downtime and transition between tasks, ensuring smooth flow throughout the session. This careful planning helps maximize instructional time and maintain student engagement. They should also have maximizing practice opportunities, designing lessons that provide students with frequent and varied opportunities to actively practice this targeted skills, and incorporate drills, simulations, or real-life applications that reinforce learning and encourage skill mastery. And they should also balance practice with appropriate breaks to maintain focus and also prevent fatigue. Teachers should supervise and monitor performance, maintaining close supervision during extra activities to observe students' technique, their effort, and understanding, and using formative assessment methods such as questioning, observation checklists, or peer review to gauge performance, and providing immediate, specific, and constructive feedback to guide improvement and boost confidence. Teachers should also assess progress toward objectives. So they're continuously evaluating students' progress by comparing performance against the lesson objectives and using a variety of assessment tools, including informal observations and quizzes and performance tasks and reflective discussions, and documenting progress to inform future lesson planning and individualized support. Really important for teachers to be able to communicate, to speak clearly and project their voice. They have to use clear, articulate speech with an appropriate volume to ensure all students can hear and understand instructions regardless of their position in the learning environment. I often call it the coach's voice. You have to find your coach's voice and adjust tone and pace to maintain engagement and clarity. You also have to provide clear and precise directions. So delivering concise and straightforward directions, explanations, and instructions using simple language and step-by-step guidance to minimize confusion and ensure students know exactly what is expected of them. You should also ask thought-provoking questions. So incorporate open-ended critical thinking questions that encourage students to reflect and analyze and engage deeply with the material. Use questioning techniques that promote discussion, creativity, and problem solving. They also use positive nonverbal cues to enhance communication with purposeful eye contact, genuine smiles, and encouraging gestures such as high fives. These actions build rapport and increase student motivation and create a positive and supportive learning environment. They should also articulate high expectations for all students. So consistently communicating belief in every student's ability to succeed. Set and express clear, high standards that challenge students while providing the support needed to meet them, fostering confidence and resilience. Teachers should be able to provide instruction guidelines. So developing expertise in instructional media and content continuously. They should be building their knowledge and skills in using instructional media and technology relevant to the physical education arena. Staying updated on best practices and new tools and content to enhance lesson delivery and student engagement. They should also understand students' needs and backgrounds, so gathering and analyzing information about each student's abilities, their learning styles, their cultural background, and prior experiences, and use that understanding to tailor instruction that is relevant, inclusive, and accessible for all learners. Sequence tasks progressively. So organize learning tasks in a logical and developmental sequence that matches students' varying abilities and progress toward the lesson objectives, beginning with foundational skills and gradually increasing complexity to promote confidence and mastery. And adapting instruction in real time, monitoring students closely during lessons and being prepared to modify activities, pacing, or content based on their immediate needs and responses, and flexibly adjusting lesson plans to address challenges, capitalize on teachable moments, and ensure all students can participate meaningfully. Motivation. And so understanding students' interests, you have to take time to learn about each student's hobbies, their preferences and passions, and use that knowledge to design engaging and relevant activities that connect the learning material to what motivates them personally, increasing enthusiasm and participation, and use reinforcement techniques. So implement the positive reinforcement strategies that we talked about earlier in the term, such as checklists to track progress or behavioral contracts to set clear expectations and award systems, like praise and certificates or small rewards to recognize effort and achievement. These tools encourage consistent engagement and help build self-confidence and empower students through choice and responsibility. Involve students in decision making by offering choices in activities, roles, or goals, and encourage them to take ownership of their learning by providing opportunities to lead, collaborate, and set personal targets. This autonomy fosters intrinsic motivation as well as accountability. Teachers need to listen actively and accept students. So give students your full attention when they speak. Show genuine interest and empathy and accept each student's unique personality, background, and perspective without judgment, fostering a safe and respectful learning environment. And build self-confidence and self-worth. So creating opportunities for students to experience success through achievable challenges and positive feedback, and encourage them to recognize their strengths and their progress, which helps develop a strong sense of self-esteem and personal value, and establish and maintain rapport. So developing those trusting and respectful relationships with all students by being approachable, consistent, and supportive. Use open communication and show that you care about their well-being and success, which promotes a positive classroom climate. And incorporate a sense of humor. Use humor to create a relaxed and enjoyable atmosphere. Humor can reduce stress and increase engagement and strengthen connections between you and your students, making learning more enjoyable. For the students' perspectives, the goal is really to foster a learning environment where students feel a strong sense of ownership and responsibility over their educational experiences, leading to greater motivation, engagement, and personal growth. So some key components are voice. Encourage students to express their ideas, opinions, and preferences regarding their learning process. Provide opportunities for open dialogue where their thoughts are genuinely heard and valued. This involvement helps students feel respected and integral in the learning community. Provide choice. Offer them meaningful options in how they approach learning tasks, such as selecting topics or projects or methods of demonstrating understanding. Providing choice nurtures autonomy and allows students to align their learning with their personal interests and strengths. And empowerment. Equip students with the skills, confidence, and resources they need to take charge of their learning journey. Empowerment involves teaching self-regulation, goal setting, and problem solving so students can make informed decisions and take responsibility for their progress. Should consider the differences in diversity in physical education. So they should consider whether students who were more naturally athletic or skilled were favored, such as being picked first for teams or given leadership roles or receiving more encouragement, and how that affects class dynamics and inclusion. They should also reflect on whether students with disabilities were fully integrated and activities were often sidelined. So think about how inclusion or lack thereof impacted their sense of belonging and learning opportunities. And recall whether there was equitable treatment between genders in terms of expectations, participation opportunities, encouragement, and respect. And notice any gender-based stereotypes or biases present in the class environment. And examine if teachers maintain consistently high standards and encouragement for every student, or if expectations vary based on racial or cultural backgrounds, and reflect on how that influences student motivation and achievement. Teaching, there is a hidden curriculum, and we have to consider what are the unintended and implicit messages. Teachers often send subtle, unconscious signals through language, behavior, or classroom structure that influence how students perceive gender, sexuality, race, and class. These implicit messages reinforce stereotypes or social inequalities, even without deliberate intent. The other part of the hidden curriculum is the lack of explicit education on social issues. So few physical education programs explicitly address topics such as gender identity, sexual orientation, racial diversity, or socioeconomic class. As a result, students may miss critical opportunities to understand and challenge social biases and inequalities. The other part of the hidden curriculum is feelings of isolation and marginalization. Because of these unaddressed issues, many students and teachers can feel isolated, oppressed, or marginalized within the PE setting. This can negatively impact students' engagements and self-esteem and overall well-being. And then the potential for education on privilege and power. Physical educators hold a unique position to foster awareness and critical thinking about privilege, oppression, and power relations. By intentionally incorporating discussions and practices that promote equity and inclusion, educators can empower students to recognize and challenge social injustices, creating a more supportive and just learning environment. Social identities that can impact experiences in physical education. Some of those social identities are disability, which may affect access, participation, and inclusion. And it highlights the need for adaptive physical education as well as inclusive practices. Gender can influence our expectations and activity choices as well as levels of encouragement. There are stereotypes that may affect confidence and participation, especially for girls and gender diverse students. And body image concerns can impact self-esteem and willingness to engage in physical activities. It may lead to discomfort in changing clothes and participating in certain sports or being assessed publicly. And there are cultural differences that may shape our perception of physical activity and sport. A racial bias or lack of representation can affect student engagement and their sense of belonging. And class or socioeconomic status. It impacts access to equipment, extracurricular opportunities, and proper attire. Students from lower income backgrounds may face barriers to participation. And sexuality. LGBTQ plus students may experience exclusion, bullying, or discomfort in gendered spaces, such as locker rooms. So providing safe and affirming environments are essential for full participation. Physical education teachers play a crucial role in educating students about social cultural issues such as diversity, equity, and inclusion. They should intentionally create opportunities for students to collaborate and engage with peers who differ from them in terms of background, abilities, culture, and identity. Such interactions foster empathy, respect, and social cohesion, helping students appreciate diversity and challenge biases. With the growing number of students holding individualized education plans or IEPs and 504 plans, it is essential that teachers are well informed and skilled in adapting lessons to meet a wide range of learning needs. These accommodations are legally mandated to ensure equitable access and participation for all students, including those with disabilities or other special needs. By designing flexible, inclusive activities and utilizing appropriate modifications, physical educators can create supportive environments where every student can thrive. Talking point is about addressing gender issues and supporting transgender students in physical education. Gender issues have long been a challenge in physical education, often reflecting broader societal stereotypes and inequalities. However, the specific needs and safety of transgender students have only recently become a focus in educational discourse. As the number of students identifying as transgender grows, it is imperative for physical educators to create safe, welcoming, and inclusive environments, both in the classroom and in sensitive places such as the locker room. Ensuring privacy, respect, and anti-bullying protections are vital components of supporting transgender students' well-being. Language use by teachers plays a critical role in fostering inclusion. Common terms like guys or phrases emphasizing sportsmanship and gendered ways can inadvertently exclude girls and students who do not identify as male. Furthermore, statements such as "you throw like a girl" or "out of the 3 passes, at least one has to be a girl" perpetuate harmful stereotypes, implying that girls' athletic abilities are inferior. These implicit messages can undermine girls' confidence and reinforce gender biases. Physical educators must adopt inclusive language practices that respect all gender identities, challenge stereotypes, and affirm the value and capabilities of every student. By doing so, teachers contribute to a culture of respect and equality that benefits the entire learning community. The current trends as the Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA, emphasizes educating the whole child, which includes physical education as a vital component of students' overall development. With this focus, there is hope that students will receive increased time and attention in physical education programs, recognizing its role in promoting physical health, mental well-being, and lifelong fitness habits. Physical education curricula are evolving, guided by clear standards, learning outcomes, and assessments that prioritize meaningful student learning. The shift moves away from offering simply a busy, happy, good experience toward fostering measurable skill development, knowledge acquisition, and critical thinking. This revitalization encourages educators to design lessons that challenge students and support their growth in a structured, intentional way. And then there are advances in technology that are playing an increasingly important role in enhancing physical education. Tools such as iPads, educational apps, smartphones, pedometers, and fitness watches provide real-time feedback, track progress, and motivate students to take ownership of their fitness journeys. These technologies enable personalized learning experiences and often open new possibilities for engagement and data-driven instruction. And that is all that I have for you today. I look forward to talking with you again. Have a great day.